Welcome back, and we're rejoining the men's race as they climb through the trees on lap 3.
Clay's tapping out a good tempo on the uphill hauls, and he could be heading for his first National Series win. A first-class roadman, but he's had to serve his apprenticeship in this new discipline. He's also had more than his share of bad luck, just like this season campaigner Craig. But now second, he looks like he's getting it together, and he's moved away from Gunner and early. And catching them incredibly quickly is Timmis, who's had a mediocre mountain bike season to date, but he's now starting to sparkle. Now, Young is going to have to raise his game if he's got ideas of victory, but he will have worked out that none of those ahead are challenging him in the overall standings. Macaulay, though, looks uncomfortable as he tries to stay with Young. In the women's competition, Robinson is now on her own as she crests the top of the course. She's dropped Ward on the climb, and in this race, we're sure of a first-time national winner, as Roberts has pulled out. And that really is a shock, because she hasn't had any mechanical problems. It just appears that her morale is rock bottom. The gritty Robinson's been a revelation in her first full season and can now hold her own on the international scene, just like her father Brian, who was a double stage winner in the Tour de France. While Ward has been disappointed not to have recaptured the form that saw her take bronze in last year's national championships, but now she seems on for another podium place. For with Fletcher, they're over 30 seconds clear of Roundtree, who's also returned to top competition, having not competed in the series since '92. And her experience has gained the edge over Green, who's in her first season of elite racing. The men are now nearing the end of the third lap at the bomb holes, and Clay is still comfortably ahead, which allows him to avoid risks on the technical sections. Behind, dropping off the top of the course, riders such as Gunner are taking big gambles to close the gaps, which is forcing Early to descend faster than he'd like to stay in touch. Craig, though, is obviously happy here as he's chipping away at Clay's lead. But he's now got company in the form of the second team orange rider, Timmis, who he'd like to shake off, I'm sure, before they start the climb on the next lap. And Early's now regaining his confidence. He's gone back ahead of Gunner, who's been showing well at the start of the races, but he's yet to hold his position at the end of the contest. And just as I thought, Young has started to move clear in sixth, but he's surely got no chance of challenging the leaders. Instead, he'll be looking to increase his lead in the series. While a tiring Macaulay may well have to worry about the chasers, who are now headed by Wright. Up the mountain for the third time, and Robinson is still looking really strong. She'll want to keep extending that lead because on the open sections near the top, you can see riders that are over a minute ahead, which means this could act like a carrot for the likes of Ward. The North Face team rider is now clear in second, with Fletcher looking like she's beginning to tire. In fact, you can hear her breathing. It really is laboured. So if Roundtree can keep the pressure on, she'll probably sight the Isle of Man rider ahead of her by the top of the course. Rejoining the men's race as they head down into the trees on lap 4, and it's all change at the front. Timmis has passed both Craig and Clay on the climb, and he's extending his lead on the fast fire track. Clay has started to tire after his early efforts, and he's not looking as smooth. He'll also know that Craig is closing him down, so this tussle is likely to go down to the wire. And there's also been a change at the front of the women's race. Ward is now leading, having passed Robinson, who's had to stop with a slow puncture near the summit. The men have now caught the women, and that's Early, not Robinson. He's now clear in fourth spot, but a long way off the pace of the first three. The next woman to come through is Fletcher, so Robinson hasn't managed a particularly quick change. In fact, she's lost over 2.5 minutes, but coming through now, she's showing great determination. At the end of the lap, and Timmis is looking in complete control at the front. On the Isle of Man in '92, he was away on his own, only to be caught on the line by David Baker. This time, he'll need to pace his last lap effort, for Craig is now up to second, and he's looking good. Clay's now dropping back. He must have had a problem. And that's now Early through in third. He's just passed Ward in the women's race. For Early, this is an excellent ride for a first time out after his World Cup crash. Robinson's misfortune is handing a winning opportunity to Ward, though as she pedals through the arena, she'll be able to see Robinson. He's already back to second, and it looks like she's closing. It's amazing, isn't it, how a puncture can spur a rider on. Up through the woods for the final time, and Timmis makes it look easy, maintaining an easy rhythm. He's often had problems with stamina on the final lap, but he's now opened up a minute lead over the Diamondback rider, and that should be a good enough cushion for victory. As Craig comes through, you can see how much harder he's working. But given his recent form, he'll be satisfied with second. Early also seems to be tiring, though he should be safe, as Clay, who led for 3 laps, has apparently pulled out because of a double tyre defect, and the chasers are now nearly 2 minutes back. Young's hopes have also been thwarted by a puncture, and Macaulay is trying to stay ahead of Martin and Wright as the top 2 women come back together. That's Paul Lazenby, who also flatted on the first circuit, and he's now contesting the race for 4th place. Well, this is a real test for Ward. She knows Robinson has been stronger in the hills, so she'll need to call on all her strength if she's to stay with the Yorkshire woman. Through the bomb holes for the final time, Timmis is still well clear and heading for a road and off-road double, as he won the Sky City Centre race in midweek, so he's the man in top form. And Craig still retains the runner-up spot. He's definitely given up the chase. He seems anxious, actually, about being caught himself, which indicates his recent lack of confidence, because he's actually a good minute clear of Early. So Timmis clinches his first national mountain bike win, a popular result with the crowd. And behind him, the battle for 4th has really livened up. Lazenby has produced a storming last few laps. He passed the chasers on the climb and has now got the gap he needs over Martin. A regular visitor to the podium in recent seasons, Craig gets his first top 3 finish this year, and that was hard work. And Early has also overcome his problems to find mid-season form for 3rd spot. Meanwhile, his rally teammate sprouted wings on the climb, for as she heads through the bomb holes, Robinson now is over 30 seconds clear of Ward, who will have to settle for 2nd. And the places are still changing, with Roundtree having moved up to 3rd, ahead of Fletcher on the final lap. 2nd in the previous 2 rounds, Robinson takes a richly deserved first victory. And Ward gains 2nd, her best ever result.
So despite a puncture, Robinson takes a deserved win, while Roundtree returns to the podium for the first time in 3 years. In the end, Timmis' win was commanding, and all the top 4 have produced their best results of the season. In the overall standings, Robinson has now edged ahead of Morel, but the Saracen rider will be back for the next round. And despite his puncture, Young has extended his lead in the series, but behind him the likes of Wright and Lazenby are now in contention.
It was a hard race. Just paced myself really, and they went off a bit hard at the start, but I kept them within striking range and pulled them back at the end. I just felt comfortable. I just rode within myself on the climbs, and it's the best I've felt for a long time climbing. I've lost a bit of weight, so I think I'm down to the climbing weight now.
It's the first time I felt like I was actually racing for 7 or 8 weeks now. It was really good to feel like that. I wasn't going brilliant on the climbs, but I was descending really well. I managed to ride at my own pace on the climbs, which helped a lot. I was catching Johnny Clay up, and I think we'd have had quite a battle if he hadn't have had problems.
I broke my collarbone 5.5 weeks ago, so it's not a long time to recover. So I'm fairly pleased. At the start of the race, I was very, very cautious coming down the hills because, you know, I can't afford to sort of fall on it again. And I think, you know, I lost a lot of time coming down. But then, as the race was going on, I think I was forgetting about my collarbone and I was coming down a bit quicker.
Unfortunately, I punctured about a mile into it, so I had to stop and fix that. Found 2 big old thorns in the tyre. I think it must have taken me a good 3 minutes, but I carried on. Started to feel pretty good, so figured I might make a top 10, but it went better than I thought.
Just sort of riding at my own pace up the climbs, and sort of the next thing I knew I was on my own. And the dreaded soft tyre came, and I thought, it was actually a slow puncher, and I thought, do I fix it now while I've still got a lap and a half to go, and maybe, you know, catch some time up, or do I wait and see what happens? So I made the decision to change the puncher. It was eyeballs out on the last lap and a half to try and catch everybody back up again.
She got away on the climbs a bit, but I was descending really well. I was really pleased with that today. So I knew I could catch her up again on the descents. But she's gradually that little bit more stronger on the second lap, got away again. I'm sure she had so much determination to get back. I knew it was sort of a target for her, so it was just when she caught me, just trying to hang on in there.
For the next round, the series heads south to Dorset. See you then.